everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Geneforge 5. We've been through the city of Paracalia, spoken with everyone and found that things are very strict in there, almost concerningly so. Next, well, I think it's time we speak with Alwyn. We were asked to speak with him, so let's head to Stormhold. Find out everything we can here. Alright. You enter Stormhold, the palace and headquarters for the leader of the Storm Plains. It is an odd mix of ancient and Shaper architecture. Most of the buildings were built by the Shapers, but there are frequent traces of something far older. Normally this palace would be quiet and imposing. It has several large buildings surrounded by tranquil grounds. Now, in this time of war, other changes have been made. For example, there is a large army encampment in the entry courtyard. There are lots of soldiers camping here, sitting around campfires on the broad cobblestones. They must be here to protect the general in case of rebel attack. The buildings of the hold are surrounded by high, rough sandstone walls. To the north and south you can see passages. They must lead into chambers dug out of the solid stone. Oh, I can see this one does. Let's not pick that lock. Not now, anyway. So this is a courtyard. Stormhold soldiers. Stormhold currently has a lot of soldiers stationed in it. They are a gregarious lot, ready to break the tedium by chatting and sometimes drinking with travelers. Being this far from the front lines does wonders for their mood. You spend some time talking with them. You don't learn anything new, but it's a nice respite from the constant danger that seems to be your lot. Well, we'll explore and see what we can. Oh! Looks like there was a little explosion or something. That is trapped and we are not going to trigger it. That would be a bad thing. Stores. Oh boy. Easy. It is inactive. The fort must not be on high alert. Well, okay then. Curious though. They actually have traps out here with no triggers. Very, very interesting. Ah, here's something. Says... Oh! No, wait. Private. Intruders will be considered spies. You slip into one of the rear chambers of the main building. Nobody has given you permission to be in here. You hear the echo of footsteps to the south. You also notice a pressure plate set into the floor, no doubt connected to alarms or worse. When in here, some care may be required. Let's stay out of there then, for now. I don't want to piss anyone off right now. Especially with all those traps I see. Another soldier there. Big bit of nothing around the outside for the most part. Aside from all those mines, which are probably to keep people from slipping around. I'm gonna need more mechanical and such stuff soon. No, don't need to touch that. Looks like I've seen just about everything on the outsides. Stormhold Prison. Check in all prisoners with agent or ranking officer on duty. Looks like an agent. There is an agent sitting here. I was right. She's pretty relaxed. She leans back in her chair, her feet up on the table. The jail to the east smells pretty rank, but she doesn't seem to notice. I'm Agent Grey. Nice to have company in here, even if it's an outsider. She passed a ring of keys at her belt. I look after the prisoners when I don't have a mission, which is often. Tell me about this prison. Well, we Shapers aren't usually much for prisons. We tend to deal with merchants with fines and flogging on the merciful end of and executions otherwise. But when we capture a spy or the like, we need a place to keep them while we wring what we know out of them. This is it. How many prisoners do you have now? 3. We won't be that way for long. One is close to the end. Another will likely free soon. The third, well, needs a lot more breaking. Do you do the interrogating? Sometimes. I handle creations. I know what you're thinking. No, I don't beat them. I don't even touch them. Nothing so crude. I just use my influence. Slowly take their minds away. Restore the proper control. Once that is done, they are begging to help us. As for humans, harsher methods are used. We have a pair of outsider thugs for that. Ugh, not my sort of work. Yeah, you keep your hands clean. Can I see the prisoners? General Alwyn hasn't said word that I am to aid you. Agent Grey reclines in her chair and makes small talk. Agents tend to have far more contact with outsiders than Shapers or Guardians. That would explain why she is so at ease. And yet in a Shaper prison it is always unwise to let your guard down. You don't go on many missions? Not many. General Alwyn likes to keep me penned up here. Sometimes when I'm going crazy, I beg him to send me out into the world. That is the purpose of an agent, after all. would be different if I was as good as precious, precious Miranda. Miranda? Agent Miranda, his favorite, the one who could do no wrong, with whom none of us can compare. She got killed trying to prevent the Unbound from being created. The same run where Alwyn was wounded. Oh well, there is something to be said for being in the back of the lines where it is safe. What do you think of General Alwyn? He is brilliant. He is the savior of the Shaper cause. He is like a machine. You feed him wine and energy, and he pumps out military brilliance. Wine? He drinks a fair amount of it. I don't think it even makes him drunk or eases his pain. I think it is just the only earthly pleasure he can enjoy anymore. Huh. Someone in here. There is a woman sitting in the back of this cell, trembling. She looks like she is well into her 30s. She is completely paralyzed by fear. She is still fairly clean. She can't have been here for long. You try to ask her who she is or where she's from, but she's shaking too hard to phrase an answer. This is probably not an unusual reaction to finding oneself in the prison of the Shapers. What is your name? She looks up at you, trying to decide if you are here to help or hurt her. She decides that you are the latter. She turns her face to the wall. How did you come to be here? She stares silently down at the floor. Can I help you? She looks up at you and opens her mouth. Then she decides that this must be some trick. She turns away again. You walk away. At this point, there is nothing helpful that you can do here. That one is empty. Yeah, not gonna pick locks. Not here. Oh. Oh dear. A whip, chain, bloodstains. Oh my. All the doors around here are locked. Yeesh. Okay, back into the courtyard. Looks like there's only a few structures left here. Here's something. Ah, must be a shaping lab. To be a shaper is a great mental burden. For most people, simply getting through their own lives day to day is a struggle. This shaper must not only guide himself, but all the living creatures he controls. After years of war, he seems to be slightly bending under the pressure. He walks among the massive crystals, guiding and advising the younger shapers. He occasionally stands at a crystal and sends commands to his own forces. He is not so distracted, however, that he can't take time to deal with an outsider in his domain. You there! Stop! Let me see you! He walks up, leans close, and looks at your face. Ah, yes. You are allowed. To be here, I mean. I am Shaper Martin. General Alwyn told me to aid you. I can do that, briefly. What are you doing here? We are controlling creations in the lands around Paracalia, keeping them secure. How far away can you control them? The range depends on focus. The focus of the Shaper. I can reach 50 miles, with great effort. When a creation goes too far, it gets worried. It starts to wander. Usually returns home. Sometimes it goes rogue. We are careful not to let them wander too far. Where are the creations made? Here, and here they return, for feeding, and so we can tend to their wounds. Is it difficult to control creations from far away? Yes, it takes great training, focus, but very powerful. We are in no danger here. We send the creations. If they die, we make more. This makes Shapers very difficult to defeat. Yes, I imagine. Shaper Marzan leans oddly when he talks to you. He must be very nearsighted. He doesn't show as much contempt for you as most Shapers do, but that might just be because he is so distracted. Yes, I can talk briefly. What do you want? How many creations do you control? He doesn't pause a moment before responding. 40! There was another, but it had to be absorbed last week. He was too wounded. How is it possible to control so many? I can only control 7 at most. I cannot control each directly all the time, of course. The little attention I pay carries right influence, leaves them calm, directed, unable to go rogue. Doing this takes many years of training, which you have not had, I think. But when well trained, each Shaper is an army, as they like to say. Can you teach me about shaping? I will if General Alwyn sends word that I can. Of course, he is more likely to do that if you made yourself useful to him in some way. I'll see if I can do that. There are 3 Shapers here, each of them staring into a tall, polished obelisk of purple. Staring into the stone, you can see faint, fuzzy shapes. They are creations patrolling in the woods to the east. These Shapers are completely lost in thought, directing their charges through the wild. You note that one of the crystals has shattered recently. Servals have not yet cleared away the debris. These powerful stones must not be entirely stable. Are those crystals... Hey, I can take them! I hope you don't mind. This Shaper's complete attention is focused on the crystal. Our creations are dimly visible through it. Directing them requires great concentration. Your efforts to get the Shaper's attention are met only with angry muttering. Typo alert! Typo alert! Here's someone. You meet one of the mages of Stormhold. Although she is an outsider, she clearly has some influence here. Her robes are made of silk, impeccably tailored. Greetings to you. I am Sage Pavil. I was informed that we might have a valued outsider as a visitor. Please be sure to ask me if you need any aid. I will give you all assistance the Shapers allow. What do you do here in Stormhold? I am well trained as a mage. The Shapers have been very generous in what they allow me to learn. In return, I teach spells to the younger prospectives and help with all laboratory work that does not require manipulation of essence. But you are not a Shaper. Sadly, no. I was only a prospective. The trials to become a Shaper are very difficult, and I was not adequate. Still, the Shapers recognize my small talents and allowed me to learn an unusual amount of magic for an outsider. I am very grateful. What is a prospective? A young person who has shown him or herself to have the talent and control to become a Shaper. That person receives much training and testing. Survival is rewarded with Shaperdom. Do you need more assistance? I seem to have a moment. I can give you all the help the Shapers allow. You will help me as much as is allowed. Of course. My main purpose here is to teach magic. It is illegal to learn any magic, even a single spell, without specific permission from the Shapers. This is only just and reasonable, of course. Controlling who holds power is one of the cornerstones of the Shaper philosophy. One must only look at our ruined lands to see the wisdom of it. I am pleased to say that I have gained so much trust from the Shapers that I can advise them about what outsiders should gain power. And this is thought to be just. By loyal people, yes. Traitors and rebels, of course, always have excuses for why they should be able to lack self-control. Why have you been given so much power? A combination of my skill and loyalty. And of course the limitless generosity of the Shapers. You evaluate your fellow outsiders. I do. The Shapers trust me, and they understand that sometimes they don't understand outsiders as well as they might. I have better insight into the outsider mind. This reminds me, I had heard that you might be going to the line. If you pass through the mountain forts, I need a message delivered. An outsider petition for more training. If you are going there anyway, could you deliver it for me? Yeah, sure, I can help you. Excellent. The message is for Cyprian. She is a battle mage in Fort Vengeance, in the middle fort in the line. She hands you a scroll sealed with wax. She is temperamental, easy to anger. I would simply deliver the scroll and leave quickly. Can you teach me some magic? I will if General Alwyn sends word that I can. Of course, he is more likely to do that if you made yourself useful to him in some way. I guess we're gonna have to speak with Alwyn before we get training. You flip through this lab journal, alert as always for helpful information. You are not disappointed. Among all the gibberish, a hastily scrawled note in a border is very intriguing. Gemstones need not only be used for want. Treat the stone with the proper creation body part on an enchanted anvil, and the latent magic within the offal can infuse the stone. Only makes logical sense. Canister. Well, I disarmed the trap, but I'm not going to take that canister. No canister run! Haha. Still, that I can understand why the canister is there. I mean, it is, it's probably taken as contraband or something. This small building is full of bustling activity. You see a kitchen and, to the east, a pantry. The serviles are busy making food for the fort. Serviles constantly grab loaves of bread, pots of stew, and other rations and carry them off to the soldiers and residents. Another directs the cooking. She constantly shouts at the others, trying to keep the kitchen running quickly. As you look around, you notice that there are more than serviles here. There are a few soldiers. They constantly watch the preparation of the food. Perhaps they are worried about poison or similar sabotage. You soon identify the servile who is in charge of the kitchen. She is the one doing most of the running and shouting. Even though she is a servile in a Shaper citadel, she has been given some leeway to give commands. When you approach her, she ceases her efforts, though she doesn't look happy about it. I am Sia. I cook for Stormhold. I cook for Alwyn. Very busy. What want? You cook for the whole fort. Yes, yes. We make stews, roasts, even cakes. For Shapers, for soldiers, for all here. Kitchen too small, but we make do. Where did all the soldiers outside come from? Come to protect Stormhold, protect Alwyn, protect all here from unbound raiders and tricky rebels. You make cake. Yes, sugar rare, but we do. Not touched. Cake for Shapers and officers. Okay. Though I would like some cake. Sounds delicious. Sia shuffles nervously from foot to foot, eager to return to her labors. However much as she would like to avoid you, however, she has the loyal servile's instinctive need to help those with authority. You are allowed to cook for Alwyn. She nods proudly. Very careful, very important. Needs special diet or mighty Shaper gets sick. All Alwyn food made by me personally. Great honor. What sort of things does Alwyn eat? Simple things, not much flavor. He complains, I do what I can. Soldiers bring to him personally. Make sure he is safe. Why are all these guards watching you cook? She looks at the guards and then at you. She's suddenly nervous. To prevent sabotage, to keep all safe. Now excuse me, soup boiling over. Must save. With one last look over her shoulder, she runs off. She must not want to discuss Alwyn. You meet an old, withered servile. Considering how long serviles live, to look this old, the servile must have lived for a very long span indeed. A pair of towels hang from his belt. They are speckled and red. You ask him a question, but he just watches you silently. He doesn't say a word. You move on when the awkwardness overcomes you. Wine steward. Okay, so he's the one in charge of the wine. Alright, I'm not going to bother with that. All that leaves is the structure up here, which is likely where Alwyn is. I mean, it's the only other structure left, and he wasn't in any of those. Let's see. More soldiers. Oh. It is very unusual for anyone to be allowed in here. This is the main war room for the storm planes. Not store planes. Good God. There are maps and papers everywhere describing the forces and tactics for Alwyn's war against the rebels. As you walk around, all the officers are careful to move significant papers out of view. Eventually, someone walks over to intercept you. I am Commander Alwyn. You shouldn't be here. You can see Alwyn. He is in the next room. This room is off limits. What do you do here? We plan the war, and I think that we will get along fine without your help. Can I look at your papers? He seems stunned. His jaw falls a little. Well... Of course you can't! If the general tells us to help you, we will. Until then, you'll need to go. I can't be here. Alright, anywhere else I shouldn't go? He points down the hall to the west. That is Alwyn's library. Stay out of there. Nobody is allowed to enter without permission. Can I help with anything? A mission, perhaps? We do send soldiers on missions. Many missions. Of great importance. Might you be interested in hiring me? I said that we send soldiers, which you are not. I do not hire mercenaries. Now keep moving unless you want me to alert the guard to the spy in our midst. Alright, moving on. No worries. And that area I cannot go in, due to the guard. I could get in the back, but I'm not going to.